It can feel like you've been here longer than you expected, in a space that never quite announces itself, yet keeps asking you to stay present. There's a sense of closeness that feels undeniable, shared moments that carry weight, conversations that drift into intimacy without effort, and still, nothing is named. Nothing is held in place. You may notice how your body senses the ambiguity before your mind tries to understand it. Not because you don't know what's happening, but because the lack of definition leaves everything slightly suspended. There's often a quiet rhythm to this kind of connection. Time passes, feelings deepen, familiarity grows, and yet the words that would anchor it never arrive. You may feel included in their life, woven into their days, while also feeling oddly separate, as if you're close enough to feel the impact of their choices, but not close enough to feel secure inside them. That in-between can feel heavy, even when moments between you feel light. Inside you, two experiences may exist at once: the warmth of what's shared, and the ache of what remains undefined. You might feel grateful for the connection as it is, while also noticing how much you've adjusted to keep it going. Staying open, staying available, letting time stretch without clarity. Part of you may hope that the meaning will eventually become obvious. Another part may already sense how much energy it takes to live without a name for what you're holding. You may notice how often you pause before asking questions, not because you don't have them, but because you don't want to disrupt the closeness. There can be a carefulness in how you speak, a soft editing of your needs. You may tell yourself it's fine as it is, while quietly wondering why it has to stay this way. That wondering doesn't come from neediness. It comes from being emotionally invested in something that never fully meets you where you are. Over time, the uncertainty can start turning inward. You may find yourself asking if you're expecting too much, if wanting definition is asking for more than what's fair, if your feelings have simply moved faster than theirs. These questions often sound reasonable, even generous, and yet they can slowly wear you down, because they ask you to carry the ambiguity alone, without acknowledgement from the space you're in. There's a particular fatigue that comes from staying emotionally close without being chosen clearly. Not dramatic, just steady. You may notice how often you prepare yourself for disappointment without admitting that's what you're doing. How you keep yourself flexible, just in case things remain as they are. That flexibility can look calm on the outside, while inside, something keeps bracing. The lack of definition can also make time feel strange. Days blend together. Moments feel meaningful, then uncertain. You may sense how the connection occupies your thoughts, even when nothing is actively happening. Not because you're fixated, but because unfinished things tend to linger, especially when they hold tenderness alongside restraint. There doesn't have to be a conclusion here, no moment where everything becomes clear. The closeness was real. The absence of definition is real too. One doesn't erase the other. You don't have to decide which part mattered more. You don't have to resolve the tension between them. It can remain exactly as it is, without being forced into clarity. You may feel a quiet sadness for what might have been possible if it had been named, for the ease that comes when something is allowed to be real out loud. That sadness doesn't need to lead anywhere. It doesn't need to transform into strength or certainty. It can simply be acknowledged without being explained away. For now, there's room to rest in the truth of how this felt, to let your experience stand on its own without justifying it, without shrinking it. Nothing needs to be decided in this moment. If it feels okay, you can stay here a little longer.